Welcome to Beyond the Voices, a podcast where impactful conversations spark change, amplify unheard stories, and inspire actions. Here, we give voices to the change makers, the dreamers, the doers, and those who are shaping a better world. Whether it's innovation, advocacy, or personal journeys, every voice matters. Each week, we bring you compelling stories, deep insights, and transformative ideas from thought leaders, activists, and everyday heroes from around the globe. From untold stories of resilience or perspectives, Beyond the Voices is your destination for meaningful conversations that leave a lasting impact. If you're ready to be inspired, challenged, and moved, this podcast is for you. Beyond the Voices, where impact meets inspiration. Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Voices. It's a beautiful Sunday, and what makes it more beautiful is that we will be talking about something that many of us are afraid to talk about. But guess what? Once you are on the Beyond the Voices podcast, there's no fear to share your story. There's no fear when you're sharing your voice. And there's no fear when you're inspiring, empowering, engaging, and sharing information that can help to uplift someone else. My name is Charlene Clark Kuro, one of your hosts for the podcast today. And we also have Andrea Adams, another podcast host. Both of us are with Voice Masters, co-founders of Voice Masters. And we will be talking about sexual abuse. Right, Andrea?
Yes, we will. Oh my goodness. Good day
And
to each
so
and every one of you. Go ahead, Charlene.
And so it's a topic that we are afraid to talk about. We want to say welcome to Voice Masters, where we amplify truth, healing, and help you to find the power in your voice. Today, we're stepping into a deeply important and sensitive conversation about sexual abuse, its impact, its silence, and a journey toward healing and restoration. And for many survivors, the hardest part is not only what was experienced, but what was never spoken. They lost their voices. They are afraid of what people will say. They are afraid that people might say, hey, you wanted it. It's your fault. But we believe that healing begins with a truth. And so healing will start when your truth is spoken in a safe space. Here on Beyond the Voices, it's a safe space. And we're using this platform to not only to share information, but also to inspire those. And do remember that your story is never for you. Your story is the story that you need to share to let other people understand that they are not going through this alone. I want to thank all of you for joining us today, and trust and believe. Put on your seatbelt because we will be having fun discussing this topic. Andrea.
Oh, wow. Wow, wow. Well, I have the honor of introducing our special guest. And, this month is a special month. It is actually Sexual Awareness Month. And just speaking to Dr. Wilson, our special guest, she actually reminded me of this. And it's by coincidence that I'm wearing this color. I believe this color is actually the color for Sexual Awareness Month. So everything happens for a reason. In this episode, we are really just honored to have this special lady that I am privileged to call not just an associate, but I call her a friend. None other than Dr. Carolyn Wilson. She courageously joins us today to share her story, her journey of healing, and also the strength it takes to turn pain into purpose. In this conversation, we aim to shed light on the realities that many face in silence and also to remind listeners that they are not alone. Also, that healing is possible. Just a little bit about Dr. Wilson. She is a survivor of sexual abuse and domestic violence, and she's now an advocate. And she's transformed on a healing journey, rewriting her life narrative. And not only doing that, but helping others do the same. And her mission is to educate and inspire women worldwide to overcome their fear, reclaim their power, and live fearlessly, particularly after trauma and abuse, by aligning mind, body, and soul to fulfill their divine purpose. We just have the honor of welcoming Dr. Wilson.
Hello, Dr. Wilson, and welcome.
Mine is a different version of it, so I don't know how to do mine right now because I got a little, yeah.
Oh,
I'll do half of one. It's like little
Welcome. But everything starts at the beginning, even though sometimes we want to share our story from the middle. But let's start at the beginning with you, Dr. Wilson. Tell us a little bit about Dr. Wilson. Just a little bit, because you telling us about you can go on for 10 days or 10 years. So just shorten it a little bit and tell us a little bit about Dr. Wilson so our listeners or viewers can understand the powerful voice that they're about to hear.
I wow. You know what? First and foremost, thank you for having me on such an amazing platform. I've watched you ladies grow this from infancy, to inception, to the growing pains, and to have the labor and the birth, right? So now it's just about cultivating this little infant and toddler that you have called Voice Master. So one, I just want to congratulate you two and the other two that are part of Voice Masters, and just honored to be on this platform.
Thank you.
Welcome. Where do I start? Oh man, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm just Carolyn. I'm just Carolyn, a girl from North Philadelphia, in Philadelphia, born and raised, where the playground is where I spent most of my days.
Viewers, she's really from Philadelphia and she gets the opportunity of introducing herself.
I really can say that, right? I really can say that. And I did live in West Philadelphia for a while, so that's where I was born. But I spent most of my days in North Philadelphia. But I mean, really, truly, at the end of the day, I'm just Carolyn, right? I am a child of God. I am the daughter of the King, and I believe that everything has a purpose. Everything has a reason. My life has a reason. My life has a purpose. And as does everyone else's, regardless of the circumstances. I was sitting there thinking not that long ago about, you know, the first half of my life appears that it sucked. I'm just going to be honest, right?
Yeah.
But I'm like, you know what? This last half, baby, listen, about to do something completely different. Like all of that stuff is behind me. I can't allow that to continue to, you know, dictate the rest of my life. We're only here on borrowed time, and we have to all count. Now, was I always that way? No, I was just a shy little girl who played with her Barbies, who loved to draw, went to Catholic school, was very polite, still am, but I was also being molested by my biological father. So, not necessarily understanding what that was about, not knowing that this wasn't normal, not knowing that these things shouldn't have been occurring. And it stifled me. And it's funny because when I tell people, I'm like, I'm really truly an introvert, and they're like, no way. There's no way you're an introvert. I'm like, no, seriously. And I said, well, I said, I'm an introvert that had to learn to become an extrovert. And I said, but wait, I'm going to take it even further. I said, I was innately an introvert, but due to life circumstances, it created me to become an introvert. So therefore, I had to retrain myself to become who I always was. And that's an extrovert. that just happens to have been an introvert.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
So yeah, I mean that's just me in a nutshell, right? Like you said, we can go on and on and on and on. But I mean, at the crux of it, I'm just Carolyn. At the end of the day, I'm Carolyn that just wants to be the light for others, so that way they know that they can have a good life, no matter what their circumstances may look like, no matter what it may seem, no matter even if you can't see, the step in front of you. Like I don't know if you've ever driven in like a dark area, like in the country or something to that effect. And just for the that's just me because I'm a little touch. I'll turn the lights off and I want to see how far I can see. And you
mhm,
can't while you're driving, you can't see anything. So it's like, oh, I need this light on so I can see. Or I'm going to go off the road. I'm going to go into a ditch. But guess what? I'm going to trust that 200 feet, because that's the distance of the light, that I can see at least 200 feet. And as I move, I'm going to get to see another 200 feet. And as I can't see all the way down the road. I can only see 200 feet in front of me. And I'm going to trust that that's going to be a clear path. Nothing's going to cross my path. Nothing's going to make me have to detour. But I'm going to keep moving forward, even though I don't know what's beyond that because it's completely dark. So I need the light to guide me the way. One roll, one step, one area, one section at a time.
okay.
So that's who I am and what I am. I'm that light to give somebody that one step, that one section, that one role, that one area at a time in their life until they can get to their own destination. Because we all have our own destination
Mhm.
on this road called life.
Well, thank you so much for saying yes and coming on. I want to go back to the beginning, just give us some insight. If it's too hard to speak, I mean, we do understand, but you said that you were sexually abused by your biological father. At
Yes.
what age did it start, and for how long did it continue? And how were you able to get out of that? I just want you to share a little bit about that with our listeners and viewers.
Sure. Not a problem. Um, you know, like many people, as a young child, right? Because we're innocent. We don't know. We only know what we're shown or what we taught or what we're experiencing. So, only thing I can only my spirit tells me I was an infant. I can't definitively tell you that, right? But my spirit and my soul tells me I was at least an infant. I can clearly remember at least about four, maybe not three, but at least 4 or 5 years old, uh, until you know mm, there was breaks in between when they didn't have access to me. But then again, it started back up again when I was maybe about. So I might have had maybe a year or two break. That's kind of weird to say, but yeah, that's what it was. And then until my teenage years. So we'll just say all my formative years of my life. Let's just put it that way. So that was the length. Now, what was the other question, Charlene? Again, the other part to it. I can't hear you
How
muted.
were you able to recover? Who assisted you in the recovery process, while you were going through this sort of abuse? Who did you run to?
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. Yeah. So that's a really long answer to that question.
Mhm.
There really wasn't any person. How can I word this? So how do you overcome that? How do you face it? How do you deal with it? It first starts with just acknowledging it and sharing it with someone, just someone, and then getting the courage, which is what I did. I shared it with someone when I was 17,
Mhm.
and it led to, okay, well then, because by that time I knew the stuff was wrong, right? So it was like, all right, so what do you want to do with it? And I'm like, well, I want to go to the police, and so I did at 17, and that's the end of the story from that part. from that chapter. That's all it did. I told someone, and it led me to then share it with a family member, which then led me to go report it to the police, and then that chapter ended. The book didn't pick back up. Matter of fact, it may even not even been the same book. We're saying years. When I say years, we're saying years. How about decades later? At least over 30 years later is when I was able to readdress it and really, I mean, really dig down and heal in the process. Now, granted, in between, was I able to acknowledge and talk about it? Only in this way of saying I was molested, and that was it. Like, there was no other thought behind it. There was no other deep healing behind it. It was, yeah, I was molested, and that was it. See, but what got replaced from that was all the domestic violence stuff, right? Because I never addressed the sexual abuse stuff. That it just went away. I never had a chance to heal from that. So all I did was stay broken and allow other broken people into my life to continue further to break me down even further. So once again, to heal from the sexual abuse, it didn't occur until, like I said, 30 plus years later, 36, something like that, years later. And what I did at that point was then I sought out multiple things: counseling, group therapy, friends, family, and writing. I took to the pen and paper and I just started writing my feelings. And that was really, for me, that was what worked for me. And that's the beginning of it. Because really, it truly is, for anyone who's listening to me, it starts with the acknowledgement, and it starts with wanting to just address it. I know it's going to hurt, but you have to. You have to get through that. You have to, just like when you fall, I know when I was a kid, I felt scrapes on my knees, scrapes on my leg. You got to let it look nasty, be ugly, wear the big old nasty Band-Aid. Hey, sometimes you got to have about 5 on, and you got to put the peroxide, let it burn, let it fizz. You have to go through that process. That's what the healing part looks like, when you have to really address it and no longer bury it, no longer just not deal with it. You have to deal with it, because you have to let it go through the process, and you have to heal. It's required. In order for that new skin to come, in order for that newness for you to come, you have to let it go through that process.
Andrew, you're so sad. Wow.
Yeah, I can really and truly relate with you, because I am a survivor of sexual abuse. And one of the questions that I would like to ask you is a question that I myself don't know the answer to, but what is it that, when you're being asked about sexual abuse, what is it that you would like to be asked about? Really, which part of it do you think would highlight and make a change? What would you want people to ask you?
That's a really good question. Let me ponder on that for a second, because there, like, here's the thing: we live in a world, in a society where drama is sensationalized, right? Where trauma is sensationalized. And a lot of times people want to know and hear all the details and the gore. That's why we have First 48, and that's why we have all these crime shows, and that's why you gotta, they want to know people's names and faces, and that's not required, right? So I would want people to want to know really what it is as a survivor, right? As someone who has either done the work or needs to do the work. Because it's ongoing. It's like, I call it, it's an onion effect. There's new layers, new things that are revealed in your healing journey. It's not a one-time fix. and that's with anything you deal with, whether it's domestic violence, whether it's, mental illness, whether it's depression. I mean, all of these things coincide. And I think people have a misconception of, oh, you're good. You talked about it. Okay, you're good. So now move on. That's not the case. That's not the case. So how do you allow? So maybe the question would be, okay, so how can I support? That's what I want them to ask me. How can I support someone who was sexually assaulted and abused? How do I be there for them in their time of need, right? In their time of whether they choose to talk about it, share it publicly, whether they choose to just mention it but want to heal on the side with it. Like, everyone's path is different. So I think that's what I would want someone to ask me or any other survivor is, how can I best support you?
Yes.
And even if they don't know, because they may not know, they may just say, I just need someone to talk to. Okay, just be the person to listen. That's it. Let them talk. Because the thing is, it has to come out. They have to process it. They have to, without you inserting what you think they feel, what you think they should do, what you think how they should act, what you think they should accomplish. It's about them, and you just need to be there for them. Provide them the resources. Like, I'll give an example. So when I had to deal with this again, right? I ran to my family because I was like, I don't know who to go to, so I'm gonna go to my family. And I'm gonna tell you, my family rejected me. That's how I. But they did the best thing for me, and you know what that was? They told me, Carolyn, we can't help you because we don't know what you're going through. We'll be there for you, but you really need to find a group of like individuals that can relate to what you're going through, because we don't know. So they couldn't best support me because they didn't know what I was going through. They could listen, but that was just about it. And at first I felt kind of rejected. Like, what you mean? I'm coming to you. You're supposed to be my first line of defense, and you're telling me you can't help me? But was helping me. They were pointing me in a direction to where I could get the help. And they still was there to support me.
Yes.
So you just spoke a bit about, others listening. Just it would be important or necessary for persons to just listen. And as you said that, a question came to mind. Why do you believe so many survivors, so many sexual abuse survivors, whether it's by someone, a friend of the family, whether it's their biological parent, and as soon as you answer this question, I have another follow, or whether it's a friend or even rape, why do you believe so many survivors stay silent for years?
It is a, depending upon what their trauma response is. So excuse me, I was out, it's springtime, so it's a lot of pollen, so excuse me. I just came in from outside in the park, so it's catching up to me. So depending upon their trauma response. So, and if anyone is familiar with different trauma responses, you have freeze, flight, fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. These are different responses that we have to anything that's a traumatic experience. So, the two that are obvious, okay, well, the fight are those are the ones that are going to put up some kind of, they're going to run, they're going to an argument, they're going to be a mouth, they're going to start yelling, they're going to put up a fight when they feel like they're in danger. Then you have individuals who their trauma response may be to freeze. So like playing possum. Like, okay, if I just keep still, okay, maybe I'll be ignored, or maybe this will hurry up and go away. So I freeze, or someone freezes. I'm saying I because I was a freezer. Okay, then you have fawn. So fawns are your people pleasers. Your people pleasers, the ones who just want to always make sure that people like them and don't want to be upset, and I'll do whatever you want. And so that means, okay, I'm not going to talk about this because I don't want people to know, and I just want people to pass judgment, right? And so wait a minute, I said there's 4 of them. Freeze, flight, wait a minute, it's 4 of them. So I'm drawing a blank on the 4th one. But just look it up. Sometimes you may see up to 6 or 8 because they keep adding. But the primary 2 are fight and flight. Those are the primary 2 automatic trauma responses. So the majority, right, of individuals they have an element of freeze. We actually have an element of all of the different elements, but one will come out more dominant than the other. So once again, back to depending on your trauma response, if you're in a freeze state, you disassociated, meaning you disconnected from that particular incident or that trauma. So if you're disconnected or disassociated from it, then what is there to talk about? You've already put that somewhere back, locked in your brain somewhere, and you've buried it. And now you have to move on. Even if you was a fighter, even if you was a fawn, even if you was the other ones, you're going to still lock it up, put it somewhere where you don't ever want to talk about it or address it ever, because it brings back that feeling, that trauma response, which can then lead to nightmares, which can then lead to, night terrors, or, some people will be a bedwetter. Like I was a bedwetter, and I didn't understand that was part of my trauma. I was like, why am I still peeing in the bed when I'm 14, 15 years old? I didn't understand that was still part of my trauma, that somehow I would think I'm going to the bathroom, and I'm like, oh crap, I just peed in my bed. And I didn't really understand why that was happening until I got to be an adult. I'm like, oh crap, that was part of my trauma. That was just still in my body, and it just didn't go anywhere because I never did anything. I never released it. So a lot of the way we show up in the world is because of this unresolved trauma, period. And so people don't talk about it because they forgot about it. They don't want to talk about it because it brings too many memories to them, and it hurts. And no one wants to hurt. Everybody wants to feel good. Everybody goes to whatever their vice is to make them feel good, because no one wants to endure pain. I mean, there are individuals that
Just
do like
putting a pin in what you're saying. One of the other things that I thought about is a lot of times as the survivor, after a while, you start to feel as if people are tired of hearing you whine because they don't understand why you can't just get over it already. And I don't know if it's a reflection rather than a reality, but it feels as if sometimes when you talk about it and then you talk about it again, it's as if, oh, here she is again with this abuse story. Get over it.
this is true. And I find that more with DV, with domestic violence, for sure. With
Mhm.
sexual abuse and sexual assault, there's a shame that comes with it. That's it. There's a shame. In
Yeah.
addition to being locked in your wherever you put it and you just disassociated from it, you don't want to talk about it, there's also a level of shame.
Yes.
Here's the thing. Sex is supposed to be a wonderful, beautiful thing between 2 individuals under covenant by the eyes of God. But the world has turned it into this sinful, shameful, adulterous thing. And so it becomes it's almost like you wearing a scarlet letter. Like, I was abused. I was sexually assaulted. Someone raped me. Someone violated me in a way that did not feel proper. It didn't feel beautiful at all. It was ugly. So now that makes me ugly. That makes me not want to say or do anything in the world. So then if I talk about it, now someone may look at me and judge me, right? Because I'm talking about it. But I'm talking about it because I might be crying about it and I need help about it. But it's different when you're, and so when you said that, it made me think of a domestic violence thing, because usually sexual abuse survivors don't talk about it. They don't, because of the shame. But in a domestic violence situation, which can include sexual assault within the parameters of a relationship, anything that's coerced, anything that's unwanted is a sexual assault and an abuse. And but when you're talking to your family and friends about, oh, this is happening, and they're looking at you like, well, why don't you just leave? Well, why are you still there? Well, why are you still talking about it? Then you're crying wolf. That still becomes, now they're tired of hearing about it. But they're not understanding that there's things that, it's just when you go through these tragic things, right? It's tragic. It really is. It's tragic. And I don't know why I'm saying it with a smile, but I have to, because it's like, this is not just a Jacksonville, Florida thing, a Philadelphia thing. It's not a Miami thing. It's not a California thing. This is a world thing. This is a world thing, that this is happening every day, every second, every moment. I mean, I've been all around the world with this, and I can tell, statistics, right? Statistics will tell you that 1 in 4, young girls and women are being either sexually abused or raped, right? And then they'll say break it down to every 93 seconds around the world. Now, I have a problem with those statistics. I know where they come from. They come based on when people report it, and this is how they get their numbers. But there's so many people that don't report it, so that number is skewed. So it's supposed to say one in, like for instance, it's supposed to be 1 in 3. We'll say either 1 in 3 or 1 in 4. We're going to use the 1 in 3 because we're sitting right here with the 1 in 3. But that's already debunked, because you already heard Andrea said she was 1, and then 1. Now, Charlene didn't say so, but if she says yes, then we totally debunked it, right?
Debunked it, right.
See, there we go. Totally debunked it. Right. Everywhere you go, it's usually the one that's not. Because I would tell people to grab the hand to the person to the left and right of them. And I said, okay, if this is you, squeeze their hand. And usually they're both squeezing hands. And I said, it's if you're not squeezing someone's hand to the left or the right, then it's you. Then you're the one that's not. If you're not squeezing their hands, then you're the one that is not. And so now we already debunked that, because if it's supposed to be 1 in 3 or 1 in 4, why are both of your hands being squeezed? Right? And most of the times they're all squeezing each other's hands simultaneously. So the statistics, the rates are just totally off skewed because it's not reported. So how many people are out here that just still don't tell? But they have to at least say something. I've met women literally I thought my oldest was in their 70s. I recently had someone in their 90s. That's way too long to hold on to something. That's way too long to never ever speak it. Never have an opportunity to speak your truth. You don't necessarily have to do anything with it, right? But just speak it. Speaking will at least set you free. If my job is to be there to guide someone so they can at least have that moment of truth, and they can at least leave this earth without having and holding on to that burden, then my job is done. Now I can continue to guide them if they want to seek more, but sometimes that's all they need to is just it. I've had someone tell me that, like, I don't need anything else. I've been waiting to do that all my life, and I'm good. Now, granted, things may come up later, but in that moment, I had to respect that that's what she needed. And sometimes that's probably all that a person ever needs.
That's probably all they need. That's probably all they need at that time. Now we're coming up on the break, but before we go to the break, here's a question I want to ask you, Dr. We talk about sexual abuse at the home, and we talk about the fathers, the uncles, the brothers abusing the girls. What about the boys who, I'm not sure if there, and correct me, if there has ever been a report where a mother has ever sexual abused her son. We know of the men abusing the boys, but I am not sure, and I perhaps should have done a research if there has ever been a report of a mother sexually abusing her son. But I want to ask the question because I find that men speak less, even though we have persons who are afraid of the judgment, afraid of what people might think, afraid of how they will be seen. Men still do speak less about sexual abuse, especially if the abuse was from a woman.
Yeah.
So I am not sure, enlighten my darkness, if there's ever been a report of a woman, a mother, not a woman, a mother abusing her son. But what would you say to those men who are suffering right now from sexual abuse, who have gone through sexual abuse and still are afraid of speaking about it?
That's also a loaded question, right? So I personally cannot recall of a case. Doesn't mean that there isn't. However, I do know that there are, and from some of the men that I have encountered that have had been abused, right? A lot of times we hear from the men that were abused by other men, but I point out the men who were abused, and I'm going to use that word, abused by a woman, an older woman. The stories I've always heard was the babysitter, the neighbor, the cousin, the someone who was older. But the difference is, and remember I talked about this thing of shame. See, for women, for girls, it's a shame. But for young boys, it's a badge of honor. You were with an older woman. No, you were assaulted and abused.
You were assaulted.
They are overly sexualized from a young age, and now they are the ones who usually statistically, right, are the ones who end up becoming the abusers. Domestic violence abuse, because now they're overly sexualized because they were forced to do things at 9 and 10. But the men were like, oh no, this is, hey, I've been with an older woman, so that's okay. No, sweetheart, you were sexually assaulted and you were abused as a child. And they have different type of ramifications, and they have different type of psychological things that have happened to you. It's just that society makes it okay for you, makes it a badge of honor for you and a badge of shame for me. The same occurrence.
Boom.
Period. Point blank. Because I've spoken to many guys I've dated, guys I've talked to, and they always say, oh yeah, I had my first experience. Yeah, I started having
12 and 13, yes, and they're proud.
I've heard 10, I've heard 13, and I'm like, well, who was my babysitter and this and
20-something year olds, yeah.
No, raped, right? Oh, but I was with an old woman. No, you were raped.
You were. That's a reality.
They can't accept that because it was with a woman. Because it was with a woman. It's okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. You were still taken advantage of, and your innocence was still taken. But because of the way the world looks at things, for a boy, for a young man, that is honored, a badge of honor, and for a woman and for a young girl, it is a badge of shame. And that's not acceptable.
Oh, wow.
Thank you so much. We are on the break. Listen, don't go anywhere. We are continuing with Dr. Wilson being abused by her biological father, sexual abuse. And she's not just talking about the women who have been abused, but she's also mentioning the men. If you are a man who has been abused, don't glorify it. Get help, because one day you might very well become the abuser. Don't go away. Just a short break. We'll be right back. Orlando, are you ready? Join us for the Voice Masters Global Speakers Conference happening on October 17th right here in Orlando, Florida. This is a powerful gathering of speakers, leaders, and visionaries coming together to unlock purpose and amplify impact. So if you are ready to step into your voice and your calling, this is your moment. We will be waiting for you. Call us today at 786-490-3452 or email us at vm@voicemasters.biz for more information. We are accepting speakers registration right now. So contact us today to book your mic so that the world can hear you as you amplify your voice. Voice Masters Global Speakers Conference, where voices are activated and destinies are launched. Call us today for more information and get ready to let your voice be heard. Voice Masters, your voice, your power, your potential. Okay, welcome back. Welcome back. And Rob, over to you to continue with Dr. Wilson. Now, Dr. Wilson, you did not make sexual abuse you. You used it to do something else. And Andrea, it's your turn to tell the world because she's not talking about it. She's like, I'm nothing but Dr. Wilson. And she's not talking about who she really is. Listen, your pain should not define who you are in life. And Dr. Wilson is an epitome of what we mean by that. And let her share her story.
Yes, Carolyn, I have a question for you. So we've gone through the part where you've been through this, and we know that you are now playing a major impact on the lives of others in many different areas. And one of them is through your voice. Your voice is a thing that tends to go a lot of times when you're abused. But how have you used your voice to help others heal?
Mm. Like like I said before about being this beacon, right? Use your voice and I amplify it, right? I amplify it to be able to speak about it like it's normal, right? Just make it a regular conversation. Uh, Tough conversations need to be had in order for growth to occur. So I have used my voice to get on stages. Here's the thing: you're never going to not hear me talk in any arena and me not tell you that I was sexually abused. We could talk about math, and I'm going to tell you I was sexually abused. Because every opportunity, every stage, every time, I am going to amplify and use my voice to bring light to a subject that has so much darkness around it. So with that, I've been able to, like I said, jump on many different stages, but not just jump on other people's stages. I have created my own stage, to, like you said, with being a voice to amplify this voice, to transform other people's lives by celebrating just who they are and what they do when they're able to tell and share their story. So I was able to tell and share mine by way of my book, my first book, and then by way of a film. And then I was like, okay, you know what? Other people were coming to me and they wanted me to help them. And I kept asking God, okay, so what can I do to support and what can I do to help? And it's like, help them amplify their voice, help them share their story, but share it in a way that it turns it into power, not pity, and see, that's where the part comes in at when you say people don't want to hear it because it becomes a pity party. And we're not doing that. We're not going to put any type of pity on anything that we've been through. We're going to turn that into power. We're going to turn that into our purpose. And that's where we truly become resilient, right? That's where we become healed. That's where we become empowered. And that's where we become resilient with her story. So I'm laughing because Andrea knows why that acronym. So that's a series of books, to be quite honest. It's more than books. It's a movement. It's a way of life. It's our truth. It's a way for women from around the world, literally, to share different parts of their story. And they don't all look like my story. They don't all look like Andrea's story or Charlene's story. They look like their own story, their own journeys. And we all can relate to them in some way, shape, or form. So, I mean, like you see, thank you for putting that up. You see the magnified thoughts. That's what got me started with my writing. Remember, I told you I did writing. I just started writing. I started writing. And I was like, you know what? This can help someone because it was helping me. So I put it in this book called Magnified Thoughts because I had to change my mindset. I had to change the way I thought about me. I had to change the way I thought about my life. I had to change the way I thought about the circumstances I was facing and what I was dealing with. And I turned it into something positive instead of looking at the negative parts to it. I was at one point I was teaching. I'm always teaching. Let me be correct on that. But I was, when I was a college professor, one of the things my students we used to always start a class with. I had a book of quotes, and one of the quotes that was one of my favorites. I would have them say it and really dive into, and I was just like, this is not resonating well with me. And that was from Ralph Ellison, who's the author of The Invisible Man. When I discover who I am, I'll be free. And I'm like, oh man, I don't really know who I am other than Carolyn. My name is Carolyn, but really, who am I? What am I doing? Like I went to school, I was just on autopilot, doing what I thought I was supposed to do, but I didn't really take the time to understand and know me, to really learn who I was. And that's what I did with the magnified thoughts. I had to start realizing Carolyn, you're already amazing. Like, don't let what happened to you define you. Don't let, yeah, now you're just going down memory lane here. Like, so it's started into just me. And it has turned into things that God has used me in so many different ways that I can't even put it all in one clear sentence, right? That's a book right there with one of the authors that's in her story. She's like, listen, I'm going to do the same thing. So I showed her how to do it. And I wrote the foreword for her book. So now it's like when I tell my story, you tell your story. Then you tell your story, you're able to help somebody else tell their story. And it's like a domino effect. And that's what this is. That's why I said it's more of a movement because it's creating, a voice, the space to be voice masters. I remember you ladies was at the conference and was like, yo,
Yes.
right? Like there was a spark, there's sparks when we can get together, when we can all tell our stories and share it in such a prolific way and with power, right? To tell our stories with a bold power because we don't know who it's going to affect. We don't know who it's going to inspire. Just that just one word, probably out of the thousands that you speak out of your mouth, is that one word that'll give somebody that just a little bit of a spark to make them go, okay, wait a minute. That resonates with me. And that's all they need is a spark. Like I got a spark. I was talking to the ladies from Barbados the other day, and I think I mentioned this to you too, Andrea, about this conference that I went to years ago. Prior to me readdressing the sexual abuse, I was still very much in my domestic violence era, right? Everybody, some people talk about their soft care era. I got my domestic violence era. I got my era. I got my sexual abuse era. I got my homeless era. I got my fight. Listen, we got eras, right? So I'm not immune to any of those things. But I was in a spot, in a place where I was really, when I say depressed, I was really depressed because I was really going through and I couldn't understand. I couldn't understand. That was it. And so my aunt had invited me to a conference that was out of state. That picture is actually up in Canada where the Good Life won for a social impact award. But I went to this event and I didn't want to go. I really didn't want to go, but I went. And I remember sitting and going through, these workshops, kind of like my conference, right? Going through these workshops and we're going around, everyone's all happy. And I'm just like, all right, I'm here. When we going to eat? I'm just going through the motions. And I was at this one person's workshop. And I remember sitting up front because it was the only place to sit. I was like, oh God, I got to sit up front. So I sat up front And I remember her book, and her topic was about flatlining. And you know the thing about when you flatline, you're pretty much not here.
Yes.
You're gone. And that's where I felt I was at in my life. I was flatline. So me being in her room, it's something she said I couldn't tell you to this day. And I have talked to her. Me and her are, she became my coach. We're good friends. To this day, I don't remember what it was she said, but it was something enough to make go the
Uniting.
defibrillator to bring me back, and
Mhm.
it just enough spark to just kind of be like, okay, just get through. Now I didn't know that years later I was going to need that resuscitation because of what I was about to face. See, God knew, I didn't, right? So I needed to kind of get through that space to prepare me for this next part of this journey, and that was to find out about my father again, right? And and to have to now address this thing that I told you that I buried. But I buried, I locked it, I ain't want to talk about it, I ain't deal with it. Now it was time to deal with it. So, but that conference was called, I'll give you the logo. The logo was a woman, and she was pregnant, and her belly was the world. And it was called Heal a Woman, Heal a Nation. And
Wow.
here a woman who took the time to learn to be healed. And here it is. I have this Her Story book with women from every single continent. That's the nation. I have women from all around the United States. That's a nation. I was in Barbados for a women's retreat on International Women's Day, where there's 5 women, all collectively out of the 3 books, from the country of Barbados, where we are healing a nation. I said, oh my goodness, things become
Wow.
circle. So that's why it's important to tell your story, because you never know. It's not just to heal you, it's to heal someone else. It's to heal that someone else and someone else and someone else. That becomes the nation. So yeah, that just came to me the other day, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then all of this stuff just transpired. And I'm still, at the end of the day, I still say I'm just Carolyn, because I'm just being obedient to God's will. God is instructing me and guiding me to do these projects, these assignments. And it's not for me, it's for his greater good. He gets all the glory in all of this. Her story, I was literally talking the other day. I said, wait a minute, all because I wrote 3 words down on a piece of paper, and that was HER. And then during the pandemic, I heard very audibly clear, it's time. And I'm like, what do you mean it's time? And it says, okay, you need to gather. I need you, literally, specifically said, I need you to pollinate the world with all of our stories. And because people would ask me, how did you meet people from every single continent? And I said, I just put it out there and they came. God showed me and told me who. And then he brought. So listen, this is beyond me. I'm just a vessel in all of this. And that's why I say at the end of the day, I'm just Carolyn. But God gives me all the titles because I am a daughter of the king. So therefore, I have to have those titles, right? But
Oh
at
yeah.
the end of the day, I'm still Carolyn, and I'm just a vessel in all of this. And I really truly want other people to be free from whatever it is that's holding them back. Because when you can, ooh, I'm telling you, the sky becomes your limit. I had
Yes.
no I had no clue. I had no clue. I had no clue. But just continue to say yes, and God will continue to bless you and guide you during the rest. It literally, literally, literally.
Yes, I smile because my phone keeps beeping. It, persons watching and sending questions and saying, put your questions in the chat. And, they're sending questions and they're like, oh my God, that kind of a thing. This needed to be said. And, so, but, so my phone going off. But here's the question that I want to ask you. You spoke about, telling your story, letting your voice be heard, sharing your stories so that other persons can be inspired and empowered and feel as though there's that safe space where they can talk about what they too have been through. But from your voice, Dr. Wilson, what does reclaiming your voice mean? I mean, we're talking about reclaiming your voice, reclaiming your power, reclaiming your stance. What does that really mean, though?
Mm, it doesn't even have words to it. It means it means that you matter. And I'm speaking to someone who needs to hear this. And I'm speaking from my heart at this point. For someone to reclaim your voice, to reclaim your power. It's it means to reclaim means to take back. So I hope you understand that in order for something to be taken back means it was taken away, which means it's something that you already possessed. Means you already had a voice. You already have power. You already have a purpose. You already have meaning. You already matter. It's just that circumstances has taken that away from you. But when you can reclaim those things, it gives you this, it's like having a superpower. It's truly like having a superpower. It's a power that you can't even imagine. How you can feel like you can accomplish anything and everything in this world without limitations, without interferences, even when things don't make sense. Good Lord knows none of this makes sense half the time to me. But it feels like freedom. It feels like freedom. It feels like happiness, correction. It feels like joy. Because the reason why I say that, because happiness is fleeting. You could be happy when you get a bowl of ice cream. And when it's gone, it's gone. You could be happy when you see someone and you give them a hug and then they walk away and then it's gone. But joy is on the inside. Joy is something that can never go away unless you choose for it to. It's this feeling of you can. It's this feeling of you will. It's this feeling of you must because you can. Not what people told you, not what the society and other circumstances has dictated for you. You reclaim so much more. You reclaim a better life. You start to just walk differently, talk differently, exist differently. You exist differently. I'm going to repeat that. You exist differently because I know what it's like to not exist when you're silent. Now your voice doesn't mean you have to be screaming to the mountaintops, but your voice, just know your voice has power and it will allow you to do all the things you didn't think that you could do. That's the best way I could describe it, but I know there's more, and that's the beauty of it. There's so much more that's untapped when you really, the feeling that you get is really truly undescribable. But as you can see me smiling because it's bringing me so much joy. It's bringing me so much joy that I can use my voice, and I can use my voice in a way that that makes impact. It's impact. I don't care about numbers. People want to know about numbers. I don't care about numbers. I just care about impact. I want to see people.
Yes.
I want to see people be well. Because when you can clear those things out your closet or whatever, it opens the door for endless opportunities. Like when they say when one door closes, another one opens. And here's the thing, God will bless you with things that no and open doors that no man can shut. Period.
Thank you.
You're
Here's
welcome.
another
Don't do that. You almost made me cry. Don't do that again.
here's another.
I was tearing too. So
Yeah. Does reclaiming your power, reclaiming your voice involve confronting your abuser?
It doesn't always have to be, because everyone doesn't have that opportunity to. You have to get to a point of your own level of closure. See, just like, and I'll use this as an example, like when we have a breakup, right? And everyone's like, oh, you gotta have, you try to call them back and you try to talk to them because you need closure. No other person can create closure but you. So reclaiming your voice and your power does not always mean facing your abuser, but it means acknowledging that there was an abuser, acknowledging that an abuse took place, and forgiveness of the individual, because it's for you. So that way you no longer hold on to resentment, you no longer hold on to pain, you no longer hold on to anger. It is so true when they say forgiveness is for you and not for the other person. So I don't want people to think that they have to see and face their abuser. Now, granted, sometimes it has that can help, right? But it could also hurt because you may not get the answer you're looking for. So then that becomes expectation. And I'm going to keep using a parallel between relationships because it's still a relationship, and the symptoms and the trauma is still the same, right? So you go to face your ex or whatever you're abusing, and you're like, and you want this closure and you want to know why and you want an explanation and you just want them to apologize for what they did, and then you're like going to go face them and you have these expectations, and then it doesn't happen, and now you're more disappointed, you're more brokenhearted than you were in the first place because you're depending upon someone else for your own happiness and your own joy. Hence why I said it doesn't require the other person. It's all within you to find that peace within you about whatever it is. And you fill in the blanks because it's interchangeable. Because here's the thing, it's a gateway. You know how they say there's like gateway drugs, there's gateway trauma, right? This is a gateway. Sexual abuse, sexual anything is a gateway to being in domestic violence relationships or intimate partner relationships. And it doesn't always have to be physical. It could be financial, it could be emotional, it could be spiritual, it could be, I mean, it's all other ways. It doesn't always have to be physical, but it's a gateway, and it's a gateway to a whole bunch of other things as well. So no, you don't have to, there does not have to be the way to reclaim your power. Another way that could potentially, doesn't include the person. It could be going back to that location and reclaiming that space.
As you said that, I was reading a message and a question here. Is her father still alive, and does she still speak with her father? That was the question. I was just waiting to throw it out there. And viewers, listeners, we can't go forever. We've gone an hour. I know it's a really, really, serious topic. But that was the question here. Is her father still alive, and does she still speak with him? So that's the question for you.
Well, there is the question I to this, and the answer is I did a film called The Good Life.
Yeah.
I would recommend they want to know all the information, they can go watch The Good Life. There's some things that I'm not really ready to disclose at this moment. So I would just them go to The Good Life, and that will give all the information about what happened to my father and all the good stuff. But it's
so will you share the information where they can get access to Good Life? This is where you can get access to the film. Go ahead, Dr. Wilson.
Sure, absolutely. That's what I was about to give you. So thegoodlifedoc.com. And if you're in the Philadelphia area, there will be a community screening on April 25th at 2 p.m. from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. at Mediator Lutheran Church, where there will be a film screening and panel discussion, kind of like what we're doing now, right? So we can talk
Right.
about it to normalize sexual assault and abuse in April, which is SAM Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
So the good life dot.
thegoodlifedoc.com. And if they're in the Philadelphia area, they can go to SAAM Heal Within 2026.eventbrite.com. It's free.
Okay, so I'm going to show the good life here. Let me remove that so they can see. So go to the goodlife.doc.com. For those of you who are asking, she did a film.
All together, no dot. The Good Life Doc. Yep. Because they're not going to find it. The Good Life.
Good Life? Come again. That's wrong? That's what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am. So the Good Life Doc, all one word, .com.
Okay. So I'll fix that.
Yeah, no worries. And then the other is SAM, which is SAAM Heal Within 2026.eventbrite.com.
Okay.
And for the event that's happening live in Philadelphia on April 25th.
Charlene, it's Doc, DOC.
Oh, the Good Life
Doc.com.
Okay. Oh, Lord.
Documentary, short documentary. Documentary. But
Right,
great questions, everyone. Great questions. Because it does spark a lot of questions. It really does. So
right. I hope I got it right this time. Please
that's it.
Okay. So go to the goodlifedoc.com. She did a film, and there you can get all the information that you want. And if you're in Philadelphia, there is a live show. You said, Dr. Wilson, give them the information again.
It's SAAM Heal Within 2026.eventbrite.com.
There you go. So for all of you who are blowing up the phone, asking the information, questions, good questions, thank you so much. And please connect with her. Please share your handles, your social media handles, so that persons can, connect with you. She's an author. She's a publisher. If you have a story that you want to share, she can help you share the story. She's a transformational public speaker, motivational speaker. She's just downplaying who she is. We had our conference last year, our Voice Masters conference, and she was a speaker on the stage as well. Very powerful voice. So if you need to connect with Dr. Wilson, here is how you can connect with Dr. Wilson. Please share.
Yes. So by all means, you can go all social media platforms. You can go to Instagram is a good way. So BE magnified, all one word. You can also go to my LinkedIn, which is my LinkedIn, which is Dr. Carolyn Wilson. You can also go to Linktree/Carolyn Wilson. That's how you can find me. I'm on all social media platforms. Just Google me. You'll find me. Reach out to me. If you want to send me those questions, go ahead and send them to me, and maybe I'll use them in the event on Saturday. And if I get enough requests, I may even do a virtual screening before the end of the month. So if you ask, then maybe I'll do. That's it.
Okay, so we have come to the end of our podcast with Dr. Wilson. I want to thank you so much for joining us. It was a powerful story. I'm sure there is someone out there who really needed to hear this and who feels a little bit better, and if you're going through issues, challenges, and you're afraid to use your voice, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of what people will say. Be comforted that you will heal when you speak up. If you remain silent, then you will always be breaking your heart, your soul, your existence, and become invisible. Right? So you
Right.
need to speak up if you're going through challenges or issues of sexual abuse, be it from your parents, even though there is no reported yet. I've not done my research of a mother sexually abusing her son, right? But if it is from a friend, and men, do remember too that that older woman who introduced you to sex, it's not to be glorified. You too were abused. Don't be afraid if you're abused sexually, men. If you've been raped by another woman or a man, speak up as well. Because again, one day you might become the abuser if you do not deal with the challenge, the issue.
And may I say one
Andrew,
thing before we go?
sure, you may.
Okay, thank you, because I know you're wrapping it up. But I just want to say to anyone that's out there that's in the process of going through their own identifying and real coming to realization of their own past trauma. And it's a very scary place. I definitely understand. So I just want to leave you with a few resources. There's an organization called RAIN. It's just RAINN, and they have plenty of workshops and just literature that you can read and go over. There's support groups that are out there. You can Google. There's if you get Magnified Thoughts, which is, like I said, that's the first book that I did. It's the one with my face on it. There's, and matter of fact, any of the books, Her Story, any of the books, I always put resources in the back of the books. So you will have resources for the hotlines, for any type of counseling, for any type of, no matter where you're at in the world, because I want people to have the resource that they need as they're on this journey. And then also remember, you are able to share just for you. Everything is for yourself. And when you're ready to share, you share. Some things you have to keep to yourself while you process it. Like I shared with you earlier, everything else I'm an open book. But as things, it's an onion and things get unlayered. And I'm in a process, and I'm just being transparent, of processing new stuff. So as I go through that, and then I can share it. But until then, that's why I had to keep things close. And that's okay, because that's all part of the healing process. So I wanted to make sure people were clear on that, because I was very transparent until that one question. So I want to make sure that people understand that that's part of the process. That is definitely part of the process, and it is okay. But seek out resources. It's okay to get help. Go get counseling. It's okay. And we're here. Everyone is here, voice masters and myself included. So I just wanted to share that. And then I guess before I go, thank you ladies once again for having me on.
All the time, Andrew.
You're welcome. Oh my goodness. This was very much so informative. It just wasn't enough time, yet we spent a lot of time because there's so much more we can still get. But I believe we are full. We have a lot to take now to the bank of our brain and to be able to process it and apply it into our lives. So, Dr. Caroline, thank you so much for saying yes. Thank you so much for always being supportive and showing up. Thank you for being you, for being the light that you are to the world. And to those men and women who are seeing that beacon and just being guided by it.
All right. This was Voice Masters. Let me share with you, Voice Masters. Of course, you can reach out to us. Andrea, you can share the number. I barely know my number.
Yes, you can.
I barely know my number. You can share your number. But
Okay. You can connect with any of us. I can be reached directly at 904-604-0429, 904-604-0429.
And Voice Masters at gmail.com or bm@voicemasters.biz, or you can reach me at 784-490-3452. I have too many things to save here. Number is not one of them. Dr. Wilson, do you want to share a number that could reach out to you? Do you have a business number or anything that mean a number? Yes.
26267-818-4084. That's
Awesome, awesome. And Voice Masters, we do voice training. If you have a story, we help you to tell your story. We're having our upcoming speakers conference in Orlando on the 17th of October, and a lot of good stuff. So reach out to us and we will help you along the way. And so as we close this episode, remember that this is your pain, and your pain does not define, should not define who you are. And your voice matters. Every survivor who was listening, you are not alone. This was Voice Masters podcast, Beyond the Voices, where impact meets inspiration. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please subscribe so that you don't miss any of our powerful share. See you again. Orlando, are you ready? Join us for the Voice Masters Global Speakers Conference happening on October 17th, right here in Orlando, Florida. This is a powerful gathering of speakers, leaders, and visionaries coming together to unlock purpose and amplify impact. So if you are ready to step into your voice and your calling, this is your moment. We will be waiting for you. Call us today at 786-490-3452 or email us at vm@voicemasters.biz for more information. We are accepting speakers registration right now. So contact us today to book your mic so that the world can hear you as you amplify your voice. Voice Masters Global Speakers Conference, where voices are activated and destinies are launched. Call us today for more information and get ready to let your voice be heard. Voice Masters, your voice, your power, your potential.